Hurricane Ian came ashore with sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, battering Florida. Storm surges and massive flooding, as you just heard, are pervasive throughout much of the state. The number of lives lost is not yet known, but I urge you to pray for all those affected. I know firsthand what it's like to see friends and neighbors have their lives turned upside down from events such as this. Joining us now to discuss the latest on the situation is Congressman Byron Donalds. He serves on the House Oversight Committee, the House Budget Committee, and the House Small Business Committee. He represents Florida's 19th district, which has been among the hardest hit areas by the storm. Congressman Donalds, welcome back to Washington Watch.
It's good to be back with you. Thanks for having me on.
So your district was heavily impacted by this. Tell us what you know as of right now.
Well, as of right now, obviously we were heavily impacted. All the coastal regions from Marco Island all the way through Sanibel, Captiva, Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Beach, and Cape Coral and Fort Myers all sustained heavy flooding. And basically everybody in the country, if not the world, has seen the pictures and the devastation. Where we are right now is search and rescues happening as we speak. Also, we're actually getting a real assessment of the heavy infrastructure toll and damage that has been done. The immediate need right now is trying to restore access to potable water for the people of Lee County. Our potable water system is out completely right now. Most of the power is out in Lee County. We're going to have to rebuild portions of our grid because of the damage. And then, of course, we have some of our bridges, our causeways to our barrier islands. They were ruptured by this storm. So it's going to be a lot of recovery, a lot of work to be done right here. But the biggest sigh of relief, if there is one, is that as of now, casualties have remained very, very low. And so we're just still monitoring that. Like I said, a lot of search and rescue is still yet to be done. But we're just taking one step at a time.
So, Congressman, did a lot of folks evacuate? Did they take the warnings and leave the area?
Well, that's the part that's still going to remains to be seen. I think in Southwest Florida, people have gotten accustomed to these high wind events. We were hit with Hurricane Irma a few years ago. But what we've never had to deal with was this level of storm surge. The storm surge was devastating. There were people who evacuated. We also had people who decided to hunker down. And unfortunately, when they saw the storm surge come in, they tried to get to either on their roofs or try to evacuate altogether. And so right now, the thing that is not known, frankly, is are there any casualties from people who were trapped by storm surge? That's the part we're still trying to assess right now. We don't have an answer to that.
Now, you were in the state legislature. You mentioned Irma. You were in the legislature when that hurricane hit Florida. You mentioned the storm surge. Is that the major difference between those two weather events?
100%. It's without question. Irma, I believe it was a Category 4, a pretty strong Category 4 storm when it hit Southwest Florida. And the concern at the time was we were expecting 7 to 10 feet of storm surge. Well, the storm surge never materialized. The storm actually broke down on the back end and it never really happened. So you had the wind damage, which was significant enough, but not the flood damage. This storm, completely different. Like I said, every coastal area in Southwest Florida was inundated with anywhere from 3 feet to 16, 18 feet of storm surge. It was very devastating for our area. There's a lot of rebuild that's going to have to take place.
Now, it takes, usually my experience in Louisiana, having gone through a number of these storms in various capacities, it usually take 36 hours before you start to get a good assessment. And I think we've gotten a lot better at the first responders in terms of the federal government and others coming in. But what has the early response been from FEMA? It sounds like the president's been working very closely with Governor DeSantis to get the necessary relief materials into the state.
Well, look, I really have to commend our first responders, our Florida Department of Emergency Management and FEMA. They've all been working hand in hand. The coordination has actually gone quite well. We did a lot of pre-positioning, a lot of pre-planning before this storm, which is a credit really to all three levels. And I think that's really what's important for the people of Southwest Florida. But that work continues. Like you said, these assessments is probably going to take us, 36, 48 hours, hopefully it doesn't take 72 hours to get a real understanding of the level of devastation that we're dealing with. And, but, FEMA has been a great partner for us through this. I was at FEMA headquarters yesterday, getting a real-time assessment of the assets they have prepared to go into Southwest Florida when the storm passes. That all looks to be going according to plan. The thing you don't know, and you can never really understand with these storms, is the totality of the need, and you can only really get that once you do your initial assessments. So they've been a great partner. We're going to continue to work hand in hand with them so that the people of Southwest Florida can recover.
And I was talking with some earlier today, as looking at the pictures coming across television sets in all across America. The pictures just do not tell the full story. You've got to see it firsthand, and when you're there and you see the devastation from a storm like this, it is just overwhelming. And I think one of the things that again, through experience, is that you get tunnel vision because you're cut off from everything, and you become, really discouraged and despondent. And I think that's why it's important to have, the federal government responding, but also we're going to be talking a little bit later about Samaritan's Purse, bringing hope and help to those affected by these storms. I think it's critically important the rest of the country, lean in and help our neighbors in Florida.
Well, I completely agree with you. During Hurricane Irma, I was on the ground. I was out doing some initial assessments. Right now, I'm in Washington. I head back tomorrow to get to work and do that work on the ground. And yeah, when you're in a recovery mode from a major disaster, it can be disheartening sometimes. But I think the key thing is, and I think this is the real special thing about people, when the chips are down, people come together. The politics, that all ends, that goes away. The petty differences, those go away. And people are focused about recovery, helping their neighbor, helping their fellow man. Southwest Florida has been through that before. I know the character of the people, and that's going to happen again. We're just going to pull together, get it done, get life back on track as quickly as we can, and then we can get back to the matters of the day. But any assistance that comes in from around the region, Samaritan's Purse is a great organization. We've done work with them in the past. Also, the state of Florida has stood up a fundraising platform for disaster assistance. It's floridadisasterfund.org. That's floridadisasterfund.org. And that's being administered by the state of Florida to assist the recovery that is going to go on. I mean, look, I'm going to be direct. Like, we have a lot of work to do. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and it's going to take weeks in some areas, if not months in some areas. But we're committed to that task, and we're going to pull together and get it done.
All right, Congressman Donalds, I want to thank you for joining us, and you and your folks will be in our prayers, and we'll be helping too.
Thank you.